issue with agriculture. Agriculture can save the country, but I'm not sure agriculture can solve the problem of unemployment at the basic level, right? Like Maureen said, at the tail end of processing and all that, there are a lot of opportunities. It kind of just goes down into manufacturing, and a lot of things are possible along that line. But for agriculture, as is, right, it's expensive, and most of it is mechanized, interestingly, right? If it's not mechanized, you can't really get any serious value out of it. So as such, agriculture is not going to employ too many people at the end of the day, right? But processing might, manufacturing might, and that's still a long way from what we have at the moment.
Just on the final note, 2015 is around the corner. Elections are basically taking over, actually. Nobody seems to be doing any governance anymore. What does this say for employment in the next year?
Well, it depends on the angle that you want to look. I can guarantee that there'll be a lot of short-term employment. A lot of contracts would surface. That's a good word. That's the best word I can use for that. A lot of short-term employment will surface due to the fact that 2015 is around the corner and all of that. But the truth of the matter is that's not what's going to solve the problem. It's what should happen after 2015 that is important. And I think if I can just use this platform to urge young Nigerians to actually get out there and vote for the right people, because that's extremely important, for us to ensure that the right people are there who can help solve some of these issues. Will be the way to go. So people should not get deceived by any short-term boost. Things that happen. It could be to businesses because they've gotten contracts to print flyers or banners or what have you. It could be for the young people that they would call in on their campaign train and all of that. But people should not get sidetracked by that. If you can make the money during the period, yes, all well and good. I probably would have done the same thing. But
you're trying your eye, basically. Maybe to you now, very, very quickly now. We're going to hear promises very soon. I'm going to create so and so jobs if you vote for me in 2015. Are there any things we need to look out for, maybe on who to vote for when they make these promises, like concrete sort of ways to create these jobs?
One thing is, when someone says it's going to make jobs available, the first question you need to ask is how,
exactly.
Right? So if someone tells you, and this goes to job seekers and the general public out there, if someone tells you that I'm going to create jobs, if he cannot explain exactly how, right, he's not the guy to vote for. He's not the person to vote for, in my own opinion. And also to people that are contesting, to the incumbents and the newest that are coming, there's a lot they can actually play with the employment card, right? And it's for them to actually find the right way. And I think the right way is basically in two ways. The industries, right? Creating value in terms of having exactly what you're going to do to make an industry bigger or to create an entire new industry in your location, in your region, in your state or in the nation. And also on the part of employability too as well. If you can boast on the fact that your people are more employable and actually put the numbers out there, or how you are going to make your people more employable, train your people in a particular skill and also create an industry out of it, I'm sure that person would be riding high, clearly. But it's just for our politicians to also actually add value. You want to win, I think you need to add value. Then you get our votes.
Thank you very much, Gwemi. That's a very wonderful note to wrap this up. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much, Maureen, for being here today. And hopefully we get you back on a lighter note and a happier note next time. When we come back, we'll still be talking on employment. Please do stay with us.
If you want to know what's trending or you miss your favorite live shows, you can watch it all on our YouTube channel. Simply log on to www.youtube.com/channelsweb. Scroll down to your favorite program and click play. You can also view all uploaded videos by clicking on View All. Don't forget to subscribe and get the latest videos. If they are interesting, like them and be heard. Get connected with the Channels Television YouTube page. The news at your fingertips.
Experience the action. Witness the passion.
They've broken the deadlock.
Feel the pains.
David Hay. But that's not the way.
And share in the gains that come from your exciting world of sport on Channels Television.
For the next 2 years, the Super Eagles.
Sports this morning, 9:30 till 10, and Sports tonight, 9 till 10 p.m. Channel Sports, defining the moments of true sports.
22 airports around the country, an industry that generates billions of naira, connecting millions for business and leisure, will put you through the paces and give you an insider's view on the aviation industry. Watch Aviation This Week only on Channels Television. Aviation This Week, keeping an eye on the aviation industry.
Welcome back. Now, we're still talking on employment right here on Rubbing Minds, and I have two more special guests here with me. Brian Oji from Aiki. Thank you very much for joining me. And of course, Iyoluwa Boyeji, founder Fora. You guys are education people, eh?
Yeah.
Well, let's go back with what I had, some discussions I had with the last set of guests, and the National Immigration Service and all of the controversies that came with it. And the issue of responsibility is very important to me because nobody seems to be saying anything about that. People seem to have blamed the victims conveniently and moved on. Where do we go from here?
If you look at the NIS scheme, there's a lot of things to be said about. You're thinking, what combination of experiences made a consultant say this is the way to run a recruitment scheme in 2014? You're also thinking, what made somebody think this is the way I'm going to go ahead and get a job? All right, so there's so many questions that come up when you consider it. And it just goes to say that the general level of awareness on education, on what people know about becoming employable or getting a job is very low in our country.
Yeah.
I mean, if we knew a lot about employability, you know that, hey, number one, I'm going there to sell myself as a value-adding individual to a system. Can this procedure actually get that kind of a person? So am I really going there to waste my time? I'm just going there because I think there's a quick fix or this is something I can do. People don't really know what to do in terms of how to go and get a job. Yeah. And so when an option like this comes up, they take it. That's not because they like it, but because they don't see any other thing that they could have done better.
Yeah, it's a very important point, and the last guest actually mentioned it. You know, I'm not even talking about people who died now, but people who went for the interview.
Yeah.
Was there enough enough red flags, as it were, to have told them that this was a disaster waiting to happen?
It feels to me like there were, but at the same time, I think it's important to take note of what the situation is now, and also keep in mind the fact that most people, because they are not reliably informed and because there are no options for them, necessarily had to go that route. So I don't like to blame them, because the truth is you can't really, they are the victim. They are the victim, so you can't blame them. But at the same time, I think there's something to be said for encouraging and challenging the victim, so to speak, to look at other routes, and also to think about themselves in a different light. So one thing I don't really like about how the employment market has actually played out in Nigeria is that there's no effort. A lot of young people aren't necessarily thinking about differentiating themselves. Currently we're hiring, and I go through a lot of young people, and the first question I ask is, why are you here? And that's a question I ask when I make speeches, when I talk to people, because I think it's the most important question for a young person. Why am I here? And I don't see a lot of young people think about that, think very deeply about, why am I here? What am I doing here? And I don't think people thought about that question when they walked into Lagos Stadium. Like, what exactly are you going to do in the NIS? What are the prospects for you when you get that first entry-level job? What happens after you get that first entry-level job? How is this going to add to my purpose in the world? Is this going to help me make an impact on Nigeria? They're not thinking about that. They're thinking about, well, we're going to go for this interview. They're going to pick 105 people, and we may or may not, I might be one of them, I might not be one of them, but whatever, 1,000 naira to play that game. Yeah. So, and I think, your life is more than a lottery, right? So you should be able to think about your life in a completely different light. And I think very serious young people probably have looked at it and said, NIS, really? Yeah. Not my thing. But so
it makes a lot of sense what he says, but then when you have close to 40 million Nigerians unemployed, some have been employed for years, almost a decade. Some people have been employed for 7 years. I have friends family who have been at home for 5-6 years. When you have that sort of desperation, do you have sort of the capacity to ask those questions.
To think deeply. You're right. I have been